What's going on, people that are watching us here on WrestlingRumors.net and WrestleReaction.net? You are live with Doug McDonald, with Chris Walter, with Adam Daly, and we're bringing you Wrestling Warm-Up. That's right, we're back. I had a couple weeks off, or a week off, I do believe, is all that we had off. Of course, lots of stuff has happened in 2 weeks, which is really cool. But Chris Walter's joining us from the realms of Canada. What's going on, my friend?
What's up, brother? It's been a while since I've done one of these things.
Well, welcome back, sir.
Oh my god, I just had the video playing in the background. I was like, why is Doug repeating himself?
I'm not repeating myself. I don't repeat myself.
I know you're not, damn it. Alright, well anyways, it's been a while since I've done this, so I'm glad to be back. It's glad to see your face, man. I thought I'd never enjoy that beard of yours again. But,
you knew I was going to be sticking around doing this.
I know, I'm just saying, man. We're buddies. Yeah. We're homies now across the borders.
Yeah, no, we're family, man. This is WrestlingRumors.net. Now, just because I bestowed my position upon you does not mean I'm not still part of the family. Like I said, this is on multiple platforms. This show now, it's also on WrestleReaction.net, and of course, there's lots of stuff going on. John Alba and I that left, we're able to do a weekly podcast now. Which is the Living the Gimmick, the LTG podcast, which has been absolutely a blast. We did one episode already last week. It was really, really fun. Adam, good to see you again too, brother.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Loving the shirt.
Thank you.
Loving the shirt. And the other compadre from Living the Gimmick from the LTG podcast is joining us, John Alba. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, I haven't even gotten a chance to throw up my little lower third yet, man.
Yeah, well, I saw you come in and said, hey, I'm gonna introduce John to everybody else. Everybody that's watching already knows who we are, but...
That's how we do things at Living the Gimmick. We just throw yourselves into the fire and accept... We don't accept no as an answer, and I think that's illegal in a few countries.
All you people on WrestlingRumors.net thought we were going away forever. Why? I didn't even say that in the letter, like that I wrote you guys. I made sure that I was very clear. We're still coming at you, and of course we're going to come at you right here on WrestlingRumors.net. Still, I love this. Again, I referenced it. It was my baby. I'm just letting Chris Walter be the nanny that raises the baby into adulthood, and he's going to do an amazing job. He already has been. So I don't have. There's no beef or anything for people that are like, why is Doug back on here? Like, this is like the original crew right here. We didn't go anywhere. We're right here. Our schedules got cray. All right,
I am not a nugget. I'm a winner, the sole survivor. Woo!
Things had to change, okay. But I did bestow the position upon Chris Walters, so now he's running things over here at WrestlingRumors.net. Boys, we are 6 days away from SummerSlam, 5 days away from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. Who's excited for this? You raising your hand, John?
Yeah,
it's hard to be on a video audio show and you raise your hand or you raise the roof and you don't say something. You gotta say something.
Like an adjective?
Say something. Yeah, little Mumford & Sons. What's up? Say something.
Hey, I'm stoked. We're going to rock it. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we hope that the people who are out there in Brooklyn and New York City and New Jersey come on out and have some fun with us.
Yeah, it's going to be a blasty blast. Who else is excited for this? I mean, we get two events. We get one that's 3 hours on Saturday night. We get one that's 4 hours on Sunday night. It's going to be crazy. There's going to be a lot of things. Obviously, they're trying to make the weekend like a WrestleMania, bringing in a guest host, which was confirmed earlier this evening, really, a couple hours ago. But Jon Stewart is going to be hosting SummerSlam. Adam Daly, I know that he's your boy. I love Jon Stewart. I think we both have a love affair with Jon Stewart. We both were talking about how the finale could have brought some misty eyes, I do believe, when he left the show.
A little bit. Well, I'll man up. Yeah, I cried on his last show. Whatever. Throw all the heat on me on Twitter. So what? I'm a grown man that cried during a finale of a
I'm a man.
Man. No, I think that's a nice little boost. I mean, I don't know. I'm always wary about guest hosts for any event like The Rock was for WrestleMania 27, but I don't think they'll involve him as much. Obviously, it's not like he's going to be involved in a championship match, so they'll have a lot of fun bits with him. It'll be a good time.
Oh, but will he?
It's a good point too.
Will John help the other John win his 16th World Championship?
Oh God.
I thought it. I'll admit, that was the first thing I thought. As a Rollins and Stewart fanboy, I thought to myself, okay, how could this mean that either Rollins is getting screwed over or Stewart and Rollins are on the same page? Like, I was trying to fantasy book this in my own head just to like, but yeah, that's I unfortunately thought the same thing. I hope they don't involve him in the championship match, but never know.
You never know. But John versus John, that would be an interesting twist. If Jon Stewart actually sides with the champ that came on his show, even though they have beef.
No, they made amends. They made amends on Seth Rollins' last appearance on the show.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And then they posted pictures all over social media with them standing. They gave Jon Stewart a farewell WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So it'd be interesting to see what if Jon Stewart costs John Cena the championship. But speaking of the title match, let's go ahead and let's preview what we have on store for Raw tonight, leading into SummerSlam coming up, because John Cena is supposed to return tonight. What do we think? What do we think we see from the leader of the C Nation?
Hopefully something to make me care about this championship match on Sunday. I am totally not excited to see Seth Rollins and John Cena fight again. Unfortunately, the injury to his nose had a lot to do with it, and missing Cena for what was it? 1 or 2 weeks that he was out?
He's out for just 1 week.
Just 1 week? Just 1 week. Well, either way, I mean, John Cena back in the title picture, having you have the United States champion and the World Heavyweight Champion in the same match on a show where it's 4 hours long. So I figured, why not share the wealth, so to speak, and have 2 title matches instead of 1. But, I'm still expecting this match to end with Sheamus cashing in. I think that's just the logical way to move things forward into the fall. But in terms of tonight, we're obviously going to see John Cena in the ring, publicly accepting the challenge by Seth Rollins. And will we see him get physical? Who's to say? But at the end of the day, I hope they do enough to make me care a little bit more than I do right now.
John, did we see a contract signing tonight?
Probably. I mean, this is a title for title match, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That makes things a lot more interesting.
It's Goldberg and Hogan and
Right.
on Nitro in '98 in the Atlanta Georgia Dome. That was
Stupid. But that makes things a lot more interesting. And, a lot of people are convinced that John Cena is walking away with the title. And I wouldn't be so convinced of that. And I think tonight will set up to the point that John Cena, he comes back from everything. He's able to rebound. He was on the Today Show this morning. I'm not so convinced that we're going to see a switch. I think contract signing's probably the way it's going to go. And if you really want my opinion, I think tonight is where you see the inclusion of the Authority in this. And I think the Authority will actually have more of a role in SummerSlam than a lot of people do.
Yeah, I mean, Walter made an interesting point. I've seen a lot of people, even people in the chat room now, saying they feel like there's going to be a Sheamus cash-in. I'm not throwing that idea completely under the bus, but I can't see them doing a cash-in in the match before the main event. The main event is Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. So I don't know how they would get by with doing the cash-in before the main event. Because that would be something that you really want people to leave on, right?
Unless you have the title match in the middle of the show. You don't necessarily have to do it Rollins, Cena, and then Undertaker, Lesnar back-to-back. It's 4 hours.
I think it's a very legitimate possibility we have a cash-in by the end of Monday night.
Right. I would more be willing to bet, since we're not going to have Taker or Brock Monday night at the Barclays Center, that the cash-in could possibly happen there. Maybe you get a 24-hour 16th championship night.
But I also don't see them running with a dual champion. I don't see them running along with someone as both U.S. and WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Absolutely not.
Well, how much stock are we putting in this new T-shirt of Cena's with the 15 on the back?
I'm not putting any. I thought about it. We talked about it on Living the Gimmick too. I thought about it, but in fact, I think the fact that they're pushing a new merch that just came out with 15 on the back, why would they pull it a week later if he were to win the title? It just doesn't make sense to me.
The only thing that because it is a limited edition set of merch for him, The only thing that we talked about could be the possibility of why they're doing it is so that they can turn around and literally put out a 16-time jersey in the upcoming weeks to have people go towards that. But same kind of thing. Even if it's Seth Rollins that walks away with both titles at SummerSlam, you got to take the title off of him very quickly. One of them, whether it's the U.S. title the next night on Raw, or the World Heavyweight Championship. But I don't see Seth Rollins hanging on to the U.S. title either. So
I kind of look at it as, back in the day, remember when the Undisputed Championship first came to be, when Jericho, combined the belts, and they kind of ran through every top guy on the roster to give everyone a run. It was like Jericho, then Triple H, then Undertaker, then Hogan, then Rock, then Lesnar, and so on and so forth. I feel now that we have the belts merged again, I think they just want a fresh face each time as the new champion until they start having to repeat themselves. So I don't think Cena's going to be the first to have technically two title reigns with the belt. So that's why I'm going to go with Seth Rollins, and then Sheamus would cash in on him.
Well, what about this is something I think we're all overlooking, because I agree 100% with you guys. They can't have somebody hold two championships. What would they do with the United States Championship? Are we going to have another Royal Rumble? Are we going to have another tournament? Are we having another ladder match? Are we, everything that we've done 40 times? Seth Rollins could get disqualified and hold on to the title. Cena still holds on to the United States Championship, and nothing. And there's your match. Sheamus. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a cash in. You can have an attempted cash in, but I think a disqualification finish makes the most sense with this match. Otherwise, I don't see the payoff of building up the United States Championship just to throw it basically to the dogs again in a tournament or whatever, however they would book it.
I would agree with that until they made SummerSlam 4 hours long and wanted it to be WrestleMania Junior. You know what I mean? I don't think a disqualification finish is going to fly.
But it's less about the championship, more about Lesnar and Taker. This is built completely around Brock Lesnar and Undertaker.
Absolutely.
The championship is undercard to this, so this is why I think that we can have that disqualification finish, because this isn't your main event. If it ended the show, I completely agree, and then that's where I think we would see potentially a cash in, whatever. If this isn't going to end the show, you absolutely can do a DQ.
Yeah, but it's, at the end of the day, like I said, when you're booking it as WrestleMania, and let's not pretend that Undertaker Lesnar is going to be some sort of classic. You need everything else to be booked properly in the process, and especially in front of a Brooklyn crowd that's going to let you know when you've done screwed up. I think they need to handle Rollins Cena delicately, and I don't think a DQ finish is the way you do this, unless it ends with Sheamus cashing in.
And you know what, Chris, to piggyback off that, if I could real quick, that's a really good point, too, because this is the closest thing they'll have to WrestleMania in arena versus outside stadium. Now that it's 4 hours, now that they're building it like a WrestleMania, and if anybody's been to an arena WrestleMania versus an outdoor Mania or a stadium Mania, there's no comparison. 22 in Chicago was unreal, and I know it's the city and it's the environment, but you compare that to the other crowds, the crowd response, how loud it is. I mean, you're having your very passionate fans buy that. So that's a really good point, Chris, because this whole pay-per-view, in a way, is going to feel a lot bigger because the crowd noise is going to be there. So getting to this match is going to be very tricky to book if they want to please a very harsh Brooklyn crowd.
Well, the DQ could happen, but I have a sneaky suspicion, especially if there's a contract signing tonight, that match becomes no disqualification.
There's actually not a contract signing tonight. They announced that John Cena and Seth Rollins will go face-to-face, but it will not, at least according to this, be a contract signing.
Yeah, well,
I do want to say, I don't think the only way you do a DQ finish is with Sheamus. I was
Kane.
just alluding to this. You could throw Kane in there, yes.
It's not loud. That could happen.
You have the other Authority members. You have Triple H to get back into the equation. And look, you know what? We keep hearing these words, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm throwing it out there in the realm of possibility. Everyone's talking about Sting, saying he's going to be at Night of Champions. What better way to have him included in that is if you do the DQ finish and then you have Sting come save the day, just as he did prior to WrestleMania and all that. It's just, I don't think that Sheamus is the only option you have if you have the DQ finish.
Yeah, no, I didn't think Sheamus would be the only option on that. No, there's a myriad of ways. I just think that a DQ is something that everybody keeps forgetting because and I just think it's because at least from a fan standpoint, everybody keeps thinking, okay, who's going to be double champion? Who's going to have both belts? As Jericho would say, double champion. But but yeah, I think that the big thing that we're overlooking is that, you know, Sheamus or not, they could get, either person could get DQ'd. Really, Rollins could just keep going after his nose, and the ref could just stop the bout. You know, and on NXT, the title would change hands. On
Correct.
WWE though, that just like stops the bout, and it's and just finishes it.
Yeah, and again, for a title versus title match to seem super important, I would think that they would make it no DQ, whether that's tonight or before the event, because then the fans are expecting. Then the fans actually have to look forward to, okay, who's really going to win this thing, because there's no disqualification. Anybody can do anything. Now, does that mean that the finish will be clean? No, not necessarily. Somebody could still get in and screw one or the other. But, if we're going to be, you're talking about 2 face-to-face segments tonight on Raw, just about, because you're going to get the face-to-face segment with Cena and Rollins, and then of course they're already promoting Taker and Lesnar being in the same building. Are they going to be face to face at some point tonight on Raw? What's going to happen there? If Taker and Lesnar's going to end clean without anybody getting involved, a DQ could work, but I don't know. Something in me just feels like tonight or possibly during SmackDown they're going to make this match an ODQ. Maybe God knows they've done it before. Maybe they announce it during the kickoff show before SummerSlam.
On Tough Enough.
Or on Tough Enough. I mean, that was the thing. When I said John Cena was off for a week, he was off of Raw for 2 weeks. He was off of WWE for a week. He was out 2 weeks ago, and then this past week he came back on Tough Enough, which nobody watches. And of course, on Living the Gimmick, we have deemed that show #Waste Enough. So when John Cena came on Waste Enough last week in his new garb and everything like that, he seemed fine. I mean, he seemed like the nose wasn't really bothering him, and it looked like he was getting ready to go. Like he was ready to rock it again. So, the fact that they used that for ratings was the way that they went. I just don't, that was just a one-off as far as announcing things, and his announcement that he's accepting Seth Rollins' challenge because he's John Cena. That's not going to happen again on Tough Enough. Don't worry about that. But we're likely going to get it either tonight, if we get it at all, tonight, Thursday night, or right before the pay-per-view. And I feel like it needs it. I feel like it needs the no DQ. But then that'll screw up their plans if they're planning on a DQ. So I feel like it needs it because of the crowd. I mean, I agree with Chris and Adam here. I feel like it's going to be a really, really hot and hostile crowd. John and I will be there with Frank Manzo, with Maria Manzo, and my wife Beth. Like we're all going to be there going nuts. Your boy Jordan's going to be there with you, John. We're going to have a lot of people there, and we're not going to have voices when we leave because we're going to be getting right in there with everybody else, being incredibly obnoxious. So, I mean, I'm very excited about being there and just, letting everything out and letting everything go and being part of that ruckus crowd. If we see a DQ finish, I don't know how impressed the crowd's going to be. And you said that, you wanted maybe more than one title match there because it's a 4-hour show. This show is stacked with so many damn tag matches that this thing can go for 6 hours if they give each match enough time and each team enough time to work in the ring. Teddy Long, we said this the other day. Teddy Long is literally went from 6 to midnight last Monday when they started announcing the matches for SummerSlam because it's tag after tag after tag after tag.
It feels like a glorified Raw outside of Undertaker.
It feels like Survivor Series with all the tag matches.
No, it just feels like Monday Night. I mean, Monday Night Raw, we get a lot of tag matches too,
Man, the cards got some good stuff on it. Cesaro, Kevin Owens is going to tear down the house. They just announced before we went live a little while ago. They confirmed Sheamus versus Randy Orton, which will be that'll be a good match.
But why is it happening? Orton beat him clean at the last pay-per-view. Why do we need to see this again?
Because their storyline's continuing. I mean, that's been seen on TV every week. You'll probably see Sheamus go over clean this time, and maybe we'll get a rubber match.
Unless Orton beats him 2 straight, and then we really get the whole Money in the Bank where just the guy with the briefcase continues to lose over and over again.
Seems to be the trend, doesn't it?
Pretty much.
I know Seth Rollins lost almost every single match holding that daggone briefcase. Dolph Ziggler too.
Yeah.
So they could do it.
Man.
They could.
It happened with Sandow too, and Elliot.
Sizzle. We'll see if he ever even gets to debut that gimmick. I doubt it.
He may never be on Raw again. So
he may never be on Raw again. It's a damn shame.
Just throwing it out there, man. He may never be on Raw again. It's it's an exciting card, and I mean, the one thing I worry about with go home shows is that you lose yourself, and they just feel so complacent where they get complacent with how everything already is, and they don't want to go that extra mile to really nail it home that this is an important show. And I hope that's not what happens tonight. You know, everyone keeps talking about this Divas Revolution, how great it is, and I maintain this. I maintain this belief that we are not seeing a Divas Revolution until these women get legitimate ring time on a major show and major positioning on a major show. And I'm not talking, throw them before the main event, because that match, the match before the main event is 9 times out of 10 a piss match.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be at the top of the hour at one of the hours on SummerSlam, for sure.
And I hope so, and I hope they get 15 minutes, I don't hope they get 15 minutes because I don't want to see a 15-minute 3-team tag. But
you're going to.
But
it's elimination. It's going at least 20.
Yeah, it's going at least 20.
I know. But my point is, I don't think we can fortify that we're seeing a Divas Revolution until we get a one-on-one between X and Y that goes 15 minutes on a major show in a major position.
Here's my question, and I'll just ask it, and you guys can give us your theories, because it's going to be purely speculation, the answer. But why was Kevin Owens bringing the NXT title out to the ring every single week, and Sasha Banks, they have not allowed her to bring the NXT Women's Championship to the ring once? Not once. Why?
She's losing it Sunday or Saturday.
But barring any of that, why has she not been allowed to bring that out? Because they want the Divas Championship to be the focus?
Yeah, there's no point having both of them on the show.
But we saw the U.S. and the NXT title going against each other.
That was part of the storyline. There's a big difference. They were talking about Owens being the champ and having the more significant title. The NXT Women's title has nothing to do with anything.
Stephanie McMahon announced her as the NXT Women's Champion when she came out the first time. Why is she not out with the belt?
To let the fans know how important she is, but other than that, it has no value on Raw. Right? Am I not right in thinking this?
To me, if they're doing cross promotions with champions from other brands that they own and they run, they should be coming out with their championships. That would instantly solidify Team Bad a little bit better and a little bit more, revolutionary than what they are right now. Adam, I see you raising your hand.
To me, it's because they know that the Divas Championship looks like crap. They know that that'll be the darkest period of women's wrestling that they've ever had. No disrespect to the women that have held the Divas Championship, but that's the era to me. I mean, when we did our review show on Thursday last week, that's the biggest thing that we saw was everybody saying, "What revolution? What revolution?" And in talking about the belt, my personal belief is that looks like a championship. The Divas belt looks like a belt, a toy, you know what I mean?
It's a bedazzled butterfly.
To me, if you look at Nikki Bella with the Divas Championship and Sasha Banks with the Women's Championship, whether it's NXT or WWE, Sasha Banks looks like a champion, and Nikki Bella does not, and that's why that belt was left off of television.
And that's when your revolution starts, when they change the belt.
Well,
exactly right. Exactly right.
And I think that's the issue, is that when they keep continuously saying Divas Revolution, and you have a women's title coming out against the Divas title, and the women's title looks more legitimate, and you have, I think it's a Vince McMahon thing all day long, where it's, I don't want that, I don't want people to go, well, where can I get one of those? Because they sell the women's championship replica. So lame.
As long as you have Divas around, you will not see a change in the name of the championship division or anything else.
You can change the look of the belt and make it look like an actual belt instead of a
flower. It's still going to be the Divas Championship. And that, I think, more than anything else, is the stigma. More than the look of it, I think the name of it is the stigma.
The Divas.
I don't know. That butterfly makes it look real tacky. I think the butterfly hurts it a lot. I really do. I think it just looks tacky.
It's the main reason it hurts it.
But yeah, I mean,
maybe we'll get a change in the belt when one of the NXT ladies wins it. Maybe when Sasha Banks or Charlotte walks away with the title, maybe they'll just look at it and be like, "To hell with this," and they'll come out with a new belt.
I honestly don't think you're ever going to hear a change of the title of Divas Division or Divas title.
I'm saying the look of the belt.
While Total Divas is still a show.
Yeah, I'm saying the look, the physical appearance of the belt, so it looks more respectable. I'm not saying they're going to rename it because, like you said, there's 50 reasons why they can't. But if they can come out with like a legitimate title, I think that'll help a lot.
Yeah, and even and Ed's making a good point. When JBL was talking about Sasha Banks a couple weeks ago, or it may have even been this past week, he's talking about that that he was the general manager that booked matches between Charlotte and Sasha Banks at the time, and he was talking about the NXT Divas Championship. He went ahead and said Divas Championship for NXT, and that's just not correct.
It's not right, yeah.
But boy, did they build up when Sasha and Charlotte last week were face to face. They built that up pretty good. The fans ate it up too. So don't tell me fans don't know who they are and what they did before. And don't tell me that fans don't know she's the NXT Women's Champion and she's not coming out with an effing belt.
I'll give credit to Washington for their great crowd last week.
Yeah, where were they? Somewhere in Washington.
They were definitely not in Everett.
And they weren't in Seattle. Although they wanted you to believe they were in Seattle. They were in Washington. That's all they were allowed to say.
Look, at the end of the day, boys, we don't have to worry about this next week because Bayley's winning on Saturday.
Yeah, how about that? Let's talk about that. How about the intentional swerve by WWE? That was very nice because I don't see Kevin Owens winning the NXT Championship again, and I don't see Sasha Banks retaining. So
yeah, they were just screwed with us.
Kudos to them because Kevin Owens was not announced as the NXT Champion either time.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos WWE, you did good because you.
Hey, we're getting some more indie wrestlers on the show, man. The tape things, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. I'm loving it.
Yeah, they're bringing in lots of people to try to mix things up, and they need to. I mean, they released a slew of new NXT like T-shirts and stuff today on WWE Shop for the Takeover stuff coming up this weekend. The Apollo Crews shirt. I think it was. So they're going to be going with Cruise Nation. The hashtag Cruise Nation. They're going to be calling him Cruise Nation, I think, a little bit. So instead of Uha Nation, it's going to be Cruise Nation. That's where they're going with that.
It's a shame. I like the name Uha.
Cruise Nation since day one is what it says on the back of the new shirt. And then Tyler Breeze new shirt says Poser on it, which whatever. And then there's a lot of other new stuff that they're coming out with, but I think they intentionally left off a new Bayley shirt and all that kind of stuff just because you're gonna see a change in that. But I'm stoked for Saturday night, dude. We get Jushin Thunder Liger versus Breeze, which I think is gonna be knockout drag out awesome. We're gonna get some other stuff. We're gonna get Apollo Crews, in the ring, making his big debut. We're gonna get a lot of awesome stuff. I cannot wait for Owens versus Balor ladder match like that. What are you guys looking most forward to for the NXT special? Because to me, it's the ladder match.
I'm such a huge Vaudevillains mark, and I really hope they win the tag team titles from Blake and Murphy so we can see less of them and their seizure-inducing entrance. So I hope Gotch and English pull out the win. But you know what? A match that we're kind of underrating here. You know what? I think Samoa Joe versus Baron Corbin's not going to be the train wreck that a lot of people perceive. I think I'm just going to book it as like this slugging, bash and physical kind of match. And I don't think it's going to go 10 minutes. It might go 7 or 8 at this point. But keep an eye out for Joe versus Corbin. It's going to shock a lot of people.
Joe's going to have to carry a lot of that match. For sure.
Yeah, well, absolutely, yeah. But I don't think they're going to allow it to where it becomes like a technical wrestling match, you know what I mean? Where Corbin gets absolutely exposed.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I will lose our minds for end of days. It'll be fun.
No, the finish is going to be great.
I mean, Doug, we've talked about this. That ladder match will be exceptional except for when they go to the finish, which involves Finn Balor hitting coup de grace on the top of the ladder.
Finn Balor's going to try to do that stupid double step off the top.
He's not going to try to do it. He's going to do it.
I know.
Adam, why do you guys hate it?
Because it sucks!
That was his finish in Japan!
No, it was not! That was not his finish in Japan!
That was one of his 2 finishes.
No, come on! He did that rarely. Rarely was that his finish. Bloody Sunday was his finish more times than anything else. Sometimes off the freaking top rope.
Adam, help me.
You're talking about somebody that watched a lot of freaking Fergal Devitt, Prince Devitt.
Damn it, Walter. I hate when I have to go
accent
opposite
now.
of you. I hate Walter when I have to go opposite of you, Walter, but I'm not. I love Balor. I love Balor, but I don't like the coup de
Say it
grace.
now.
I'm just worried. I'm concerned that it's a snapped ankle or just something just that close away from injury. I think he needs a better Impact move. I really do. If they're going to take him serious once he gets to the main roster. I don't know. But I get that. I understand the finish though, because if you think about it, he uses his feet the entire match for 80% of the time. So I do like. I like it. I just wish that I like it. I'm just not in love with it.
So what do you make his move then? Not the Bloody Sunday, man.
I said make the running knee his finisher, man. You're talking about using
That's the Tommy's finisher. That's the Tommy's finisher.
It's the setup. Tommy's finisher is the. Yeah, I mean, it needs to be the go to sleep.
No, I know it is. I'm just saying that's what it would be.
But freaking A, you have he did the Bloody Sunday to Kevin Owens in Japan.
He did.
Why can't he do it in the States? That doesn't make any sense. He did.
You need to move.
He did it. Yeah, he did it near the end of the match, and I thought it was 3 there, and I was like, thank God they're gonna actually give him this move now to use instead of this.
You know why they gave it to him though?
Waste twice.
No, but you know why they gave it to him? Because he can execute that move on anybody. He's not going to be picking up, a larger opponent. Like if he ever goes on one-on-one with Kane, he's not going to be giving him a Bloody Sunday anytime soon. At least the coup de grace he can hit on anybody on the roster at any time.
Oh, it's so weak.
That's why Daniel Bryan has a knee. That's why Hideo Itami has a knee. That's why Rey Mysterio had a splash.
Rey Mysterio splash will go down as one of the worst finishes in the freaking the waist. Ryhack is doing it now. It's dumb. The splash is dumb from the top if you're not Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and it's not 1979.
No one is talking about this move. How about them allowing Samoa Joe to use his chokehold?
What, the Taz mission, basically? They might as well.
That's been outlawed since Benoit. That has not been used since Benoit.
I know.
They made it a very, very discreet, set in stone, you cannot use chokeholds.
Well, no, that's why Daniel Bryan got fired, because he was choking Justin Roberts with his tie.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and they are letting Samoa Joe use it, probably because Vince doesn't watch NXT and hasn't seen it yet.
Absolutely.
But I mean, that's a big.
And it's NXT. And it's NXT where they get away with a lot more stuff. They're not going to cut. They're not going to cut and get color in NXT, but they are getting away with a lot more. Indie style, getting a lot more lenient on what they do on NXT, mainly because Triple H is running the show and he wants to see that kind of stuff. When you have the PG era stuff on free TV, you can't really be throwing out chokeholds all the time because, by God, the kids are going to do it at home. And right now, the demographic watching NXT every week are 18 to 35-year-olds. It's not the 6 to 12-year-olds that watch free TV every week. So that's why they're doing the chokehold in NXT, but you won't see him use that on WWE TV. No, I don't see that at all. But as far as the coup de waste, I understand. We've talked about. I understand why he does it. I understand that he can do it on anybody. I understand that's why Ryback is doing more of the splash stuff because he can't go in there every week and not pop hernias doing the freaking shell shock, which looks terrible anyway. It's a glorified freaking Samoan drop. But I always thought the meat hook clothesline would be a better finish for Ryhack the entire time. But the coup de waste, I just use it on big dudes and do it to the back of their head because he does one at the beginning of matches to the back of their freaking head. And that one looks 10 times better than him doing it to their arm.
Well, no,
they always do this with their arm, and he lands right here. And I'm like, it is the worst looking finisher for someone that's supposed to be a champion and supposed to be, freaking A. It's
because he has it all. He has it all.
It needs to change. It's just like freaking Sami Zayn having to use the hell of a kick as the finish when he should be doing the hell of a kick as a setup to the Blue Thunder Bomb. Don't give me that crap. Blue Thunder Bomb looks 10 times better than a kick to the face in the corner. I understand that he can't do the brainbuster on the freaking turnbuckle anymore. I know that. Just like I can't see my boy Kevin Owens give a package power driver to anybody, but I can see him do a package power bomb. Whatever. That's fine. Do what you gotta do. But holy crap, I can't get behind the coup de grace being the finish. Can't.
Tell us how you really feel, Doug.
Won't. won't get behind the coup de grace as a finish. I'm fine with the knee.
Okay.
It's meh, but I'm fine with it. But a coup de grace.
The worst part is you and I are going to be sitting next to each other as he does it from the ladder, and we're just going to look at each other, and that's going to be it. We're going to look at each other and have that realization, that moment of realization.
If he blows out his knee, I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to laugh.
He's going to miss Owens. He's going to fall crotch first through the rungs of the ladder.
It's only going to take one. It's only going to take one like super botched time of that move missing, and he's never going to do it again.
Maybe he'll hit his head on the scoreboard.
I'm not saying that. Maybe. Well, no. I mean, maybe depends on how tall the ladder. Because you know he's going to have the Jeff Hardy ladder up there. You know he's going to have the 40-foot freaking ladder.
Yep.
God.
And props to Kevin Owens for getting 2 significant matches on 2 back-to-back shows like this.
Oh, but be wary because he's fat and he's not going to be good.
They have no stock in Owens. He's only main eventing one show and then wrestling Cesaro on a match of the night candidate on the actual pay-per-view. Sorry.
People are dumb.
It was all over when he lost to Cena, folks, when he tapped out.
Right. They have no stock in him whatsoever.
Clearly.
He's selling. He's like number 3 or number 2 in merchandise sales right now. P.S. They just released a baseball cap for the effing guy. But no, he's not gonna succeed.
He'll be world champion in 2 years. It's no doubt.
I predicted on the LTG podcast this week he will main event WrestleMania in the next 3 years. Period.
You guaranteed it.
I guarantee it. That's correct.
Will we ever get Owens versus Zayn at WrestleMania?
Possibly, but I'm not guaranteeing that one.
That could be.
Owens will be. And when Zayn returns, even if he does appear on NXT a couple times, he's going straight to the main roster and going straight after Owens.
There's your gutsy prediction on my part right here. Sami Zayn returns at the Royal Rumble when Kevin Owens is the only guy in the ring.
It would be sick.
You heard it here first, folks.
It would be a good spot. It would be a good spot because what did I say? Or what did I say when Owens won the belt and Zayn went away for surgery? I said it on this show, and for people that have been watching forever, you'll know that I said it because Alex B. Song was making fun of the fact that I wear this hat every week, and I'm trying to look like Sami Zayn, even though I wore this hat multiple times before Sami Zayn was even on NXT, and he was still El Generico. Freaking A, they're going to run at some point, and it could be at a big pay-per-view that's not WrestleMania, but for me, if I'm booking it right, and I'm booking it with as much setup as they have from NXT, you freaking do. The WrestleMania match for Kevin Owens this coming year in Dallas is freaking Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Period.
Yep.
I actually watched I watched Chair Shot Reality earlier, and they mentioned that they could see Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 32.
Let's see if Daniel Bryan wrestles another match.
If he wrestles at all.
Yeah, about to say that's a really big jump.
It would be a tremendous feud. They could do so much with that, but it's just let's see.
They could sell his injuries so well when he hits him with an apron powerbomb for like weeks. They could sell Daniel Bryan being injured for weeks.
Do we at least agree that Kevin Owens gets a decent one-on-one match or a significant feud heading into WrestleMania? Like he's not just grouped into like a 6-man tag or an elimination match.
I wouldn't guarantee that. with them wanting to do what they want to do with WrestleMania 32 and all the names they want to bring in, I would not guarantee that he's going to have a meaningful one-on-one match. He should, but I would not guarantee that.
I'll guarantee he's main eventing WrestleMania in the next 3 years.
Well, no, we're talking about this upcoming year.
I'm just saying by 2018 you're going to see him in the main event.
Owens Lesnar WrestleMania.
I'll say it as many times as I possibly can so people understand that when it happens, your boy called it. It's happening. The guy has so much potential, it's not even funny.
But he's fat.
He's huge. He's on that Big Mac diet.
Fat Owens, man. Kevin Owens is fat. Did you not see the sign on Raw last week?
If Bam Bam Bigelow can main event a WrestleMania, so can Kevin Owens.
Oh, please. Lawrence Taylor carried him.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The only fans who like Kevin Owens are stretch marks.
If people listen to the top 5 on the gimmick, they know that Lawrence Taylor carried Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The sweet haircut and the earring did it all. Did it all. Yeah, so, I mean, we got SummerSlam coming up, of course. We've got a few decent matches already booked on the card. The tag matches, I mean, you can say that possibly, I mean, there's a level of interest, in my opinion, behind Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper, not in the match itself, but what could happen if Dean Ambrose turns on Roman Reigns. They don't, even though Roman Reigns is seeming super chummy, and it feels like Ambrose, and I think it's just because it's going to happen at some point. It feels like he keeps calling Ambrose crazy, and Ambrose just keeps looking at him like, "Stop calling me crazy." It's just this feeling I keep getting. I'm more interested to see if anything comes of that in that match than the actual match itself. They haven't done a really good job of getting me very invested in that. Anybody else feel the same way?
I think it's because they expected Sting to be a part of it, or at least there was some sort of plan to make it a 6-man, but they couldn't figure out who to put as the third guy with the Wyatt family, with Rowan out with this torn tricep or bicep or whatever it was. And then, who else? There was rumors, of course, that they were going to do the Adam Rose to Leo Kruger switch. That never happened. So you're stuck with the tag team match, but the only way this thing becomes remotely interesting is that at the end, if Reigns or Ambrose turns. But I think they're teasing more that it's going to be Ambrose, but I wouldn't be surprised if Reigns the one who turns heel.
If they finally pull that trigger, I will lose my mind at that event, because it needs to happen desperately. At least
Brooklyn would love it either way.
Brooklyn would be more behind a Reigns turn than an Ambrose turn. I'll tell you that right now. Adam, your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think at least if nothing else, because right now this match I agree with you guys. It does nothing for me. But I think for me, if there has to be a turn, because if there's no turn in this match, if this ends in clean finish, refinish, but there's everybody's still family afterwards, there's going to be some upset butts in the stands. I think that there does need to be some sort of turn at the end. Personally, I would like to see it be Ambrose, just because I want to see Moxley back, or at least that Moxley-style edge. I think he's not that he changes, but he does change a little when he's a darker character. But I would absolutely 100% pop if Roman Reigns turns heel. I would, and I think that it's what his career needs. Everybody. I think the misnomer about fans of wrestling or the IWC or whatever people want to call it is that people don't like Roman Reigns. That's not the case. I mean, it's just that we don't like how he's booked. Flip him heel, and where he's gonna actually look good, then he's going to gain acceptance from the fans immediately. And I'm not saying that we're going to cheer for him, but you're going to see a much different thing in fan response from, oh, Roman Reigns sucks, he's no good, to, oh, sugar, I don't want my boy fighting Roman Reigns. So
and he needs to go back. I'm trying
to edit myself for you, Doug. It's still in the early hours. It's not late night yet, so I have to edit myself.
Yeah, I hear you. But he's got to get back to the badass. He's got to get back to being that short-spoken, angry. He needs to attack the fans to get the heat. He needs to go to that route. He needs to pull a Rock. I've said it from day one when the Royal Rumble happened. He needs to pull a Rock. It's organic, and the crowd will pop for him. They'll start giving him heat. They'll want to give him heat because I mean, look at what happened. And we said, this is what we're comparing. When we compare him to The Rock, you saw what happened there. He had the look. He had the athleticism. The look was very generic and very babyface, and he was smiley a lot, and trying to pander to the crowd. The crowd hated it. And then when he turned heel and started having charisma and allowing himself to be more part of the character, fans got behind him again, and then he's one of the biggest names in the company ever. So I still feel like the Roman Reigns experiment could work if they would just freaking turn him heel and let the fans hate him for a little bit and let him acknowledge they hate.
Plus, I think a big one with this, too, is how it really could pay off. Not necessarily in the Brooklyn crowd, because the crowd, obviously the passionate fans there want, what's going to be more interesting going forward versus, playing favorites on characters. But I think it would tell a much more compelling story. My buddy Mike tweeted, was talking about this. Ambrose is typically a recluse anyway, but he's that outcast that everybody relates to. He's that outcast, people don't like it, but he is the CM Punk or the Pillman or the Austin or he's just that counterculture figure that fans gravitate towards. So what better way to piss off that counterculture, group than have Roman Reigns, the guy that they've been booing since the Shield split up, to be the one that really cost, it would make it more sympathetic for Ambrose. Ambrose could, I guess, go, it could make him a little crazier while he's still a face, but I don't know. I think long term, I think Reigns turning is the better bet.
John, you were shaking your head there.
Yeah, they don't look. Here's a bum one. They don't care about Dean Ambrose's babyface run. It's that simple. The guy still, despite having just marginal booking at best, gets among the highest crowd responses out there. And we're talking little girls and all of them cheering for him too. They don't care, and it is the time because of that. The knee-jerk reaction is going to be let's turn him. I'm going to tell you this. You guys seem to think this is happening at SummerSlam. I'm going to say this. I think the Raw after SummerSlam is going to be booked very much like the Raw after WrestleMania.
Right. Yeah.
And I believe that a Dean Ambrose turn, if it happens, is your main event segment on Monday Night Raw the night after. Just as Seth Rollins turning was the main event, this company invested so much in these three guys. And for that turn to happen in the middle of the card at a pay-per-view, and I understand it's a bigger pay-per-view than your typical one, but for it to happen in the middle of the card at the pay-per-view, or for them to have invested so much in the backstory of the Shield, I mean, we're going to look back in 15 years and see the chapters of these three's career and how it all relates back to the Shield. And for them to just throw that away in the middle of a card like that, or in the middle of a Monday Night Raw, it's not going to be the case. I can very easily see Monday Night Raw ending with a rematch tag or something like that, and that's where Ambrose turn happens. I don't see Reigns turning. I still think he's your babyface going forward.
I'll be the lone wolf then. I think Roman Reigns is the one who's turning. I just think if you turn Dean Ambrose, I think his character would be so much alike to what we see with Kevin Owens and even Bray Wyatt to an extent.
I'm not sitting here advocating, Chris, that I want to see Dean Ambrose heel right now. Because I want to see Dean Ambrose heel. I want to see him heel, but I don't want to see him heel right now. Right. And I don't see anything that has said to me, well, they are turning Roman Reigns. There's nothing convincing to me that says, you know what, they've given up on this, because I think Roman Reigns has been better. I think he has. I think he's been good. And I think they see that and they're like, you know what, we're going to push forward with this because this is our guy. And I don't blame them. It just, us seeing the long-term value in turning him heel, say, okay, this is what you need to do, but it's not happening. Not happening.
But it's dumb.
Okay, but it's not happening.
I'm just saying.
It's dumb, man.
I'm not saying. I'm not like I would rather them turn Roman Reigns. I'm not advocating that either. That I want to see Dean Ambrose be the guy that turns. I'm saying that in WWE logic, like John was saying, that it's more apt. They're more apt to turn Ambrose heel than Reigns because they're still stuck in that mindset that Reigns has to be the babyface. They don't see. For some reason, they don't get that he would be, that he could be the next Rock.
Let me throw it this way at you, Doug. The ultimate goal of a Roman Reigns-Dean Ambrose feud, who's going to get put over in that feud?
Right, it's going to be Roman Reigns.
It's going to be Roman Reigns. And their ideology with that, at least what I'm assuming, would be, why would we leave Ambrose as the face, turn Reigns heel, and then have the baby face go down again, when we could just make this guy a dastardly heel, and then the heel goes down as traditional wrestling tells us, and Roman Reigns
it's not traditional wrestling anymore.
Up like
the landscape has changed. You can't do the whole thing would be, oh my God, Dean Ambrose turned his back on his best friend, and now it's try to play the sympathy card for Roman Reigns, and yet the fans are still going to cheer for Ambrose for doing it.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean
that's traditional wrestling anymore.
That doesn't mean they're going to book against that, because they are going to book against
WWE
that.
Logic.
Right.
Brooklyn would pop so hard for Ambrose to attack.
Yes, absolutely.
And then the weeks afterwards too. That's
every
the thing.
Crowd will.
I gotta say this. When are we going to see the trigger pulled with Bray Wyatt? Are we ever going to see the trigger pulled with Bray Wyatt?
Because
he debuted 2 years ago this pay-per-view.
Right.
2 years ago. And what has he accomplished in 2 years?
He's fallen to all major stars, really.
He's not in the same place he was 2 years ago because he was just debuting. But can you say that he's in any better position right now than he was a year ago against Chris Jericho?
No. He's in the same position he's been in since he debuted. And that is.
I disagree with that.
I don't. Upper mid card, and he hasn't left.
He was beating scrubs when he debuted. He's not at the point where he's just going over scrubs.
Okay, well, you know, when they put the litmus test of Kane in front of him for the first pay-per-view, that's upper mid card. That's not. He's not curtain jerking.
And he was beating Kofi Kingston and R-Truth and.
You pinned Roman Reigns last month.
Your Intercontinental Champion did the same damn thing. I can't say anything about the fact that he's not in the same place, because even though he wrestled those guys on Raw and on SmackDown, He wrestled Daniel Bryan on pay-per-view. He wrestled, big name guys on pay-per-view.
I think the best way to describe Bray Wyatt is they had every opportunity to make him the Undertaker, and they ultimately turned him into Kane.
Basically, and that's I still loved Kane through his run of being the upper mid Carter almost every single time. He was in the main event every now and then, but it wasn't like a set thing every time. Kane was still a viable character to the program. I still think Bray Wyatt could be a viable character to the program if they start booking him more creatively and not the same shtick every time. And I love Bray Wyatt. I love him. I just hope that they start doing something different with him.
He could have been like a once-in-a-lifetime character like The Undertaker was, but when they just ultimately kept feeding him to the actual Undertaker and then the likes of John Cena, where you couldn't take him seriously anymore because he was just getting beaten over and over again, it didn't do anything for him, and now he's in this spot where what do you do with him? Do you ever put a world title on him? Do you ever put him back in the main event? It's hard to say.
Well, I still say for Bray Wyatt, the character of Bray Wyatt, he doesn't need a championship. For the character of Bray Wyatt, he does.
There's Doug.
I think he needs the championship right now. And I know no one can see us right now, but I think he needs a championship right now. Doug's back with us now. It looks.
There's Doug. Yeah, you froze there, buddy. You froze completely.
Did you hear what I said about Bray Wyatt?
No.
No, and it's better off that way. But
shut your effing mouth. I said that the character of Bray Wyatt doesn't need a championship, and the character of Bray Wyatt doesn't need to win every time. But the only 2 big wins that he's had on pay-per-view, or 3 big wins, are Jericho, Daniel Bryan, and Kane.
Well, he beat Reigns
and I mean, but those, even though he always wins the first one, it seems, and then he gets drilled the next 2 matches.
Let me ask this question though. Don't you? Or it's two-parter for everybody. Don't you think putting a belt on him or putting a title on him would not only limit his character and creatively what they could do with him, but B, the Bray Wyatt character isn't he's not about championships. He's about teaching people lessons. It's about his followers. The psychology of his character has nothing to do with championships whatsoever. Does he every once in a while get tossed in a championship match? Absolutely. But everything about his character is about learning and about preying on the weakness of society. He's basically the Steel City Savior character that I created, in my own head. That basically is a cult follower. They don't want. It's all like the Joker. It's not about the money. It's about sending a message.
Well, isn't it easier to send a message when you have the world title around your waist?
Nah, it depends on what your character is, man. I mean, we didn't see. You saw Hulk. You saw Undertaker win his first WWE Championship for a hot second against Hulk Hogan, but that was because it was going to further the Ric Flair feud. That wasn't because they thought the Undertaker, who's a similar character at that point, should be the guy chasing a title. And then we didn't see the Undertaker hold the title again for 4 years. And when he faced Psycho Sid at WrestleMania 13, that was the next time he held the title. And he didn't hold that one for long either, because he didn't need to, because his character doesn't need the title.
How many times did Ted DiBiase hold the WWF Championship?
0.
There you go.
Right. Exactly. And we've talked about this multiple times. I don't think Bray Wyatt should ever chase the championship, but if he ever does taste it, if he ever does get it, then he can talk about how much he, that he loves it, and that it's, it's you can change the character a little bit once he gets the title the first time to talk about, but you can't do that before the title because he's never held it, and it's not a vice or a prized possession for him at this point.
Unless you put that sucker in a rocking chair and he praises it and stuff, that would be kind of cool.
Right, you can start changing it once if he ever gets it, but he shouldn't. Right now, his focus should not be I want the title. It should always be I want to go after this competitor psychologically.
It's all about righteousness. It's all about self-righteousness.
All about going after people's spirits and souls and minds.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Yes. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's talk about that because the tag match before we get out of here. Do we see New Day winning the tag titles? Because I would lose my mind because they're my favorite thing on TV.
Yes, they're gonna win at SummerSlam, and you know what? Their first challengers might be Enzo and Cass. I think we see them on Raw at least, if not SummerSlam.
Oh yeah, I fully expect to see Enzo and Cass on Raw for sure. They're not.
Sure
they're
about
not.
that.
They're not probably going to do anything but an appearance on NXT TV. If they do something, they're gonna. They're probably going to come out in the NXT television taping. They're not set to come out at Takeover at any point, but I think that they probably will.
You know why? That's a sign right there. How the hell did those two not get booked for Takeover?
Well, because I'm telling you how. Because what they're gonna do is your boys, the Vaudevillains, they ain't winning. I got some bad news for you, all right? And what they're gonna do is they're gonna have the beatdown commence, and then they're gonna have the Zack Ryder 2011 Survivor Series pop, where the hometown boys come out and save the day. And then you'll see them at the tape.
Why not just put them in the match then? Do it
because you get the surprise. It's a surprise pop that you're going to get out of them, and then you do the television taping after, where you get the whole crowd to do the whole, soul.
To hell with the TV taping, man.
Except the TV taping. Except TV taping is before Takeover.
No, it's not. It's after now.
It's after Takeover. Yeah.
It is after now.
I'm still trolling. Don't try to come at me like that.
You know what? Listen here.
If I want to call it NXT troll over and just troll over the whole thing, then
listen here.
You want to
call in. Listen, all you people listening to Wrestling Warm Up. You want to get involved with this little heat right here that we got going on? Give us your hashtag top 5 reasons why this Adam's apple is better than any beard baby. All right, and then we'll air that on the Living the Gimmick podcast. Not that they can see our Adam's apple or beards in the podcast, but hey.
This is the face of...
And they can't see that face, baby, in a podcast.
You're seeing it right now, and by God, my wife will tell you straight up, she doesn't care about this as much as she loves this.
You know what they say about guys with big Adam's apples?
Yep. They need to grow beards to hide it.
You see this, man? You see this, man?
What's that, 3 weeks?
That's 3 weeks.
This, unfortunately, is a week on top of that. What you have right there, this is a week on top of that. This will get tamed before Brooklyn, and then we'll see what happens. We'll see how long it gets before it comes back. But dude, we got tons of stuff happening over the next week before we get to Brooklyn, man. We've got Raw tonight, obviously starting in 30 minutes. You have you have all the other stuff that WWE does. You're going to have spoilers Tuesday night for SmackDown, and then, of course, if you watch SmackDown, that's on Thursday. NXT Go Home Show was taped last weekend. You're going to get that with some really cool spots between Owens and Balor with ladders. It's going to be a really cool end of the show, which should be really cool, so watch that. And then, of course, if you do watch Waste Enough, enjoy. I don't watch it, so have fun if you do watch that. And then, of course, Wednesday Night TV. If you want to know what happens on Impact, before Impact, you can listen to our podcast Wednesday afternoon, the LTG podcast. And there's the thing that we do every single week, which is John spoils the TNA results. So if you want to watch that, and we just destroy the TNA results. But if you want to watch them, don't listen to that part of our show. But if you want to hear them before and hear some color commentary over it, you can definitely want to listen.
Last week we had breaking news that Bram had re-signed.
That's right, Bram re-signed with arms wide open, which was really funny, and interesting, and good for TNA for getting Charlotte's husband, because that's all that anybody knows Bram as. It's Charlotte's husband. But good for TNA for getting Bram to re-sign in their failed state. But there's all that happening, and then of course Saturday is the NXT show. We'll fire some exclusive stuff over to WrestlingRumors.net from the show, from the taping, so you guys can see that firsthand, some images, some breaking news, blah, blah, blah. You can see all that good stuff from Brooklyn, from Barclays Center, and then, of course, Sunday's SummerSlam, man, and it's going to be a packed show. None of us will be at Raw Monday night. We'll be back here, hopefully be back here to do this show before Raw. If not, sorry, but I'm going to be driving back from New York, and we're driving, so deal with it if we're not on here Monday night.
Excuses.
We'll be here before. We'll be here for reaction by that time. But man, we're literally leaving SummerSlam, getting on a 40-minute train ride back to Long Island, and then getting 3 hours of sleep, getting up to drive. So that'll be fun. We'll see how that works out. But as always, like the WrestlingRumors.net Facebook page and follow them at WrestleRumors. And of course, the new guy that's at the helm there is Chris Walter. You can follow him at Walter Sports. And then, of course, Adam Daly, who does a review show every single week for WrestlingRumors.net after Raw with his beautiful wife, Sam. You can follow her at LadyNexus13. You can follow him at AdamDaly13. And then, of course, there's John Alba, who is my co-host on the LTG podcast, Living the Gimmick. You can follow him at John Alba. And, of course, you can follow Living the Gimmick at the LTG podcast. And, of course, you can follow me at Doug O'Mac and follow Wrestle Reaction at Wrestle_React. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of stuff going on. Man, we're glad that you stopped by. You watched. We hope that you had some fun. We had really good interaction in the chat room. Thanks for watching, guys. We had a really big number of people watching, so this is awesome. We're glad that you still tune in, even when we're not consistent every week. So thank you for joining us for this, and lots of stuff coming up this week. Get excited for SummerSlam. Get excited for Raw tonight. We got tons of live tweeting going on at Wrestle Rumors. I'm sure there'll be some stuff going on at Wrestle_React. Maybe, I don't know. Frank's not even home from work yet, so we'll see what happens there. But guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you tune in to the review show on WrestlingRumors.net and of course Wrestle Reaction on WrestleReaction.net. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Deuces.